We're going to bring in our next guest here. It's the last Friday of Women's History Month, and in honor of that, we have Andrea Bastiani-Archibald. She's joining us. She is the Chief G.I.R.L Witch, which stands for Go-Getter, Innovator, Risk Taker, and Leader, as well as the Parent Engagement Officer at Girl Scouts of the USA. Welcome, Andrea.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
So happy to have you here. And I see you have your Girl Scout pin on.
I do have my Girl Scout pin. I see you're wearing Girl Scout green. I often do. But I wear red in honor of Women's History Month.
Yes, we love it. And part of Women's History Month, you have a new initiative with Raise Your Hand. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, I wish I could claim this initiative. I guess we can claim the skills that Alice Tapper brought to this initiative. We're so excited. She's been getting a tremendous amount of media and actually a great following from her Girl Scout sisters from around the country. She started a campaign called Raise Your Hand to embolden girls to raise their hands at the same or even greater rates than boys do in classrooms, because we know right now girls do not.
Well, we put up the visual "Be bold, be brave" that you all created, so that struck my mind when I saw it. Why do you think girls are less likely to raise their hand in a classroom?
Unfortunately, what we know from the research is that girls sort of wait or are apprehensive until they feel they have the perfect or right answer. They fear failure or embarrassment at a rate that's higher than do boys. They're not always interested in putting themselves out there, just in case. Even when they do raise their hands in classrooms, too often they raise their hands, offer an idea or the answer with almost a question mark at the end. We call that upspeak. Like, I think the answer might be, or they might start it with "I think," like I just did, you know. So too often they see this, and they see this actually in women too. So this is
it's so
too often like a cultural norm, right?
And it starts so early. I love that we're having this conversation. It is the last Friday of Women's History Month, but to be reminded it starts so early, some of the habits that both propel us to go full out and be bold, and then also the ways we start to shrink at such a young age. So is there any success you've seen from the initiative? Or
tremendous success. Like so many of our Girl Scouts who, develop campaigns or what we call take action projects when they see inequity, is they develop their own, age appropriate ideas. They say, this isn't okay. Girls, around me are not raising their hands. I'm going to put a stop to this. I'm going to, embolden other girls and tell them it's totally fine to raise your hand and to actually try. And so many of our girls do this, but Alice did this, and wow, the outcomes have been phenomenal. She created a book. She created a national, not a national, but a local patch program with the Girl Scouts Council of Nations Capital. That's our council in the DC area. And actually, Girl Scouts of Nations Capital has some great resources on their website also that they're sharing.
We have a viewer comment here. Kathy Ruff says, "I raised my hand all the time. I don't believe this, and I didn't see that in my children's school either. In fact, I saw the opposite." I want to pull in a related thought to that, in the sense that we see women are actually getting more bachelor's degrees. They're getting more education.
Higher education as well. They're doing better in class, actually better grades.
Yeah. So do you think that is there the risk of women becoming more just using formal education as opposed to life outside the classroom? That if I just say this as myself as an entrepreneur, a lot of the skills to be an entrepreneur, I didn't learn in a classroom by sitting and raising my hand politely.
Well, right on. What is that quote? Polite, quiet women rarely make history, or something like that. Apropos for today. And I laud your viewer who says that. And we're talking about normative trends, here. And Alice witnessed it and, used her skills as a Girl Scout to create change. And her troops supported her too. They kind of, nodded along and said, hey, we need to change this for all girls.
No, it's so important. And to Carrie's point and the viewer's point, I think there's definitely a distinction between the education we see and also the behavior. Because what you're talking about is, I might do great on tests, but I actually will, my confidence, because next week will be Women's Equal Pay Day. So we know that even though we are getting degrees at higher rates, it's not translating to always being our own advocate. And so
absolutely true. So we might be, on kind of a hamster wheel. We're doing like everything right, but it's actually still not changing changing the workforce environment for us. And what we know from research also is that women are less likely to apply for jobs, to advocate for themselves if there's a promotional opportunity, things like this. That men might lean into a job if they have maybe 50-60% of the qualifications.
Yeah.
Women, we wait, unfortunately, and I say we, not necessarily me, not everyone, to your viewer, but unless we have 100% of those qualifications.
So what specifically does the initiative do? Is it a curriculum, or walk us through exactly what this
Sure,
campaign
absolutely. So Alice and our troop created a patch, and we have participation patches that engage girls in encouraging them as well as their peers. So they're to recruit 3 other girls to also raise their hands in class. So in essence, hopefully going viral.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where's she based?
She's based in the Washington, D.C. area.
Got it.
But this is a program that really has been compelling girls all over the country. It resulted in a New York Times op-ed. She's the youngest Girl Scout to ever pen a New York Times op-ed. She wrote her own book, which is amazing. I heard that it's #2 on the Amazon bestseller list today. So
Well, it helps because her father's a journalist.
I think it does definitely help.
No, to have
there's
a father who's that supportive.
Well,
I think
and I happen to know her mom too, actually. They're both tremendous advocates of girls generally, but of course their own daughter.
Sure.
Yeah.
So one last question. I'm just curious, related to the question, the segment we had before on the issue of cookies and obesity. What is the position? I wanted to ask it for the first question, but I wanted to talk about your campaign. What's your take on the rise of obesity and the Girl Scouts cookies? I mean, they're addictive, I think.
Thanks.
The mint cookies are so good.
You're dressed like a Thin Mint. It's adorable.
Yes, I'm basically a Thin Mint.
So our national cookie program is actually a financial literacy and entrepreneurship program for girls. Most people don't know when you buy a box of cookies at a cookie booth, perhaps in front of your grocery store, that money goes to fuel girls' skills in developing as entrepreneurs like you. You'd be a tremendous role model for us and for our girls everywhere. But the cookie money also stays in girls-owned communities. So I think that's incredibly important. So they raise funds for Take Action projects, sort of like the one we're talking about today.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for joining us.
Thank you both.
you.
It's great meeting you. You're doing tremendous work. I was listening to the previous conversation and thinking about how I would, kind of fall out on that answer.
Yeah,
it
we'll have
is
to
a
bring
good
you back
debate.
for that.
I would love it. Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Take care.